Howdy folks, I'm Beneficent Brown Elfin, belatedly bearing beautiful bells.
I'm Amber.
And here are more beautiful bells for us to belatedly bear. And like Amber, we're belatedly bearing this bell, which of course means beauty.
Oh, I was thinking like wedding bells.
Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Cousin offered to photograph our wedding as a gift and now he's billing us. Am I the jerk for refusing to pay? Got married recently. My cousin is a professional wedding photographer and said, as my gift to you, I would be happy to take the photos at your wedding. We told him that we didn't want him to feel obligated to do that or have him feel burdened with work during the celebratory weekend. He said that he would be happy to do it. We repeatedly expressed how grateful we were and made sure to tag his business in all of our posts. We figured that was that. Now it's a few months later and he's received our thank you note for attending and photographing. He called to say that he was sorry for any miscommunications, but that the gift was taking the time to put us in his busy wedding photography schedule, but we still were expected to pay. He wants $3,000. Not to sound ungrateful, but it was only him, a camera, no extra equipment, or any staff members. For less than that price, we could have gone with our original choice of wedding photographer, who had offered more people present at the wedding and a more advanced photography setup. We told him that because he said that this was his gift to us, we did not set aside a large photo budget, and now we don't have $3,000 to give him. He basically said that we're greedy jerks and don't respect his work and this and that. I feel badly about the misunderstanding, but I think that it was an honest mistake on our parts and that he bears some responsibility for the expectation of being unclear. My parents think that I should just drop it and pay him in installments to keep the peace. They seem to believe that I'm making this more than it needs to be. I want to stand my ground, but am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. Do not pay him. He is scamming you. Any professional wedding photographer knows the first rule of the game is you have a contract. You get everything in writing so that there cannot be disputes over the price. The fact that he did not give you a contract with the price in it shows that what he's doing is not okay and is scammy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that somebody who runs a professional photography business would be well familiar with invoices and billing statements and everything else. And so to me, it just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense that he had this quote unquote miscommunication. It sounds more like he is baiting and switching them.
It is a bait and switch. And generally when you do this, the photos are delivered after the payment. And that's why you're upfront about the payment. And I think he was waiting to get OP's praise, because OP has tagged him on all these posts and his business and everything, and knows that OP is probably not going to drag his name through the mud, so waits until he gets all that, and then he's like, oh, by the way, you owe me $3,000.
Yeah, it does feel very intentional, right? Because again, why would he give the photos to OP if they hadn't paid yet, right? So I don't think there's any misunderstanding here. I don't think there's a miscommunication. I think that he is just trying to scam them.
That's exactly it. And so I would go to talk to him and tell him there was never any contract, and you never communicated a cost to us at any point during this process, and just be very clear and let him know that like you're not comfortable with how he does business and you're not going to recommend someone who scams people.
Yeah, but let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Will I be a jerk for skipping my brother's wedding after he skipped mine? And Amber wants to read this one.
I'm a 27-year-old female and I got married to my husband, a 28-year-old male, last April. We sent out our wedding invites a full year before our wedding and sent reminders 6 months before. My brother, Jacob, 22-year-old male, is the youngest of 4 kids, 3 girls and 1 boy, and my parents have always treated him like their precious golden child who can do no wrong. As adults, this has caused some tension between us. He acts like a raging hormonal 16-year-old boy. It's definitely gotten worse with his fiancée, Kelly, a 21-year-old female, enabling his bad behavior. Kelly is constantly telling him we don't appreciate him and we should be grateful to have him as a sibling. My parents think me and my sisters don't understand him and we don't give him enough grace. Jacob told me a week before my wedding he wasn't coming because he was going to be busy with Kelly and they were going on vacation. I begged him to come and emphasized how important it was to me that he came to my wedding. My mom got involved at this point and assured me he would be there and not to worry. I didn't find out until an hour before I walked down the aisle he wasn't there and didn't intend to be. I was devastated and my sisters and husband had to calm me down. I had my heart set on my entire family coming, and he was our ring bearer. When Jacob told our family him and Kelly were engaged, I was happy for him. He announced his wedding date as May 30th of this year. He emphasized we all have to be there. His fiancée sent a text saying that our attendance was mandatory. I've been debating skipping his wedding. I don't get along well with Kelly, and my brother skipped my wedding. I mentioned possibly not going to my mom, and she was furious and told everyone. Now my brother, Kelly, and my parents are calling me a jerk, brat, and petty for maybe skipping his wedding. My sisters and husband agree with me that I don't have to go since they didn't go to mine. But I don't know, would I be the jerk for skipping my brother's wedding? Minor update. Turns out my husband isn't invited, and my oldest sister's wife isn't invited either. Kelly doesn't want any spouses there since those are, in her words, temporary, and she doesn't want them in any pictures. My oldest sister has decided not to attend because of that reason. I found this out 5-ish minutes after I posted.
All right, folks, what do you think?
No, don't go. It sounds like a lot of drama, and you cannot mandate someone goes to a wedding.
Yeah.
Like, it was not your brother's choice whether he went to your wedding or not, and you don't have to like the reason. Like, yeah, it was kind of a jerk move to just dip out on a wedding he had known about for a year in advance after saying he would go.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is that the door swings both ways here, right? He can't on one hand say, oh, it's mandatory for you to attend my wedding, but it wasn't mandatory for me to attend your wedding, right?
Right. I mean, it just shows his general entitled attitude. He feels like he is entitled to everyone else's time and attention, but no one else, he's too important for anyone else to demand his.
Yeah.
Only when it's convenient, perfectly convenient to him. And so it just seems like not a great situation, especially where the husband is not invited. I mean, this whole thing, like, why are they even getting married if his bride-to-be sees spouses as temporary?
Well, I mean, I think it's sometimes when these kinds of people say these things, they mean everyone else, but not mine.
Oh, of course,
yeah.
But it's such a weird attitude to be like, yeah, spouses are only temporary.
But, I mean, and I don't know. I just think that this is a very entitled attitude that they have, and I think that I wouldn't blame OP at all for not going to this because, again, like, he slighted OP's wedding, and it just seems really unfair for him to expect and demand OP go to his wedding, right?
Right. Well, it doesn't seem like he cares about OP at all. Only the appearances and only as much as she can benefit him. He is not someone who actually respects or has any real concern for OP, and you don't need that kind of person in your life.
Exactly. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to straighten my 1.5-year-old's hair for a wedding that she will be the flower girl in? My sister-in-law is mad at me because I will not straighten my 1.5-year-old's curly hair for her wedding so all the flower girls can match. Personally, I think that 1.5 is too young to straighten her hair. It's not good for it, and the risk of burning is significant. She knew that she had curly hair when she asked, so I don't know why now, 2 months before the wedding, it's an issue. Well, she's upset because my daughter's hair is in a tight ringlet curls. Despite it being pretty long, when wet, it looks like she has short baby hair when it's all dried and curly. It's adorable, and I simply do not understand the point of changing it the way it is to fit someone else's picture perfect wedding. I will obviously put it in a cute headband and wet the curls and use products to make them less frizzy, but I refuse to straighten them. Is this standard expectation for a flower girl at a wedding? Adding, we are all white and this isn't an act of racism. Thank goodness for that, otherwise this would be a million times worse. I'm definitely not complying, and husband will be having a conversation with her tomorrow because what in the world is going on? But yeah, at this point, reading the comments, I am pretty ready to drop out of this nonsense. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, it is not okay to expect anyone, child or adult, to do something to their hair for a wedding that's potentially damaging. I think, especially though, the fact that this child is 1.5, the risk of burns is very significant. Small children are generally not good at staying still, and it's not a good idea to have hot products within like touching distance of them.
Yes.
I mean, one little turn of the head, one reach of the hand, and kiddo is not going to be having a very good day.
No, otherwise you might end up with like a facial scar like I do when I got bit by a soldering iron.
Yeah.
Or a foot scar for that matter.
Yeah.
Because like when I was really little, about 2 or 3 ish, my dad was doing some soldering, and the soldering iron, I guess I like tugged on the cord or something like that, and it came down and hit me and stuff like that. These irons, these hair irons, they're very dangerous. They can
Yeah.
burn, especially delicate skin and
Right.
whatnot,
Well, and
right?
all it takes is a moment of inattention
Yeah,
for a kid to, or even like if they wiggle the wrong way,
yeah.
for burns to happen.
I mean, I think that's kind of where I was going.
Mm-hmm.
Is like in a moment, very just blink of the eye,
Yeah.
you can't control what happens with little kids, and something can happen where you might end up injuring them or whatnot because they're a handful, right? Kids are a handful.
And, I mean, I don't understand wanting everyone to look the same in a wedding. Like, people are here to celebrate your day as
Yeah.
your loved ones. They're not props for, like if you want props, just hire hire models or something for your wedding. But if you want the people you love there, then stop trying to dictate how their hair looks or things like that. If a kid has naturally curly hair, nothing wrong with it.
Well, especially such small children, right? Small children, especially where they, there's not really a good reason to have a small child have their hair straightened or something like that, you
Yeah,
know?
like nobody is going to be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that one flower girl has curly hair. It's so non uniform. Or if they do feel like that, then boot them out of your life immediately because, like, that should not be anyone's concern.
Well, I mean, also, how quickly can kids become a mess,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, like, it's a pretty big expectation to expect a little kid to stay perfectly clean and not get themselves into trouble before a wedding. I mean, there's going to be flaws, right? And if she gets her hair wet or something like that before the wedding, I mean, if it's naturally curly, it's just going to like recurl itself, right? But let me know what you folks think. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Expecting My Cousin to Reimburse Me for a Flight and Hotel when she uninvited me from the wedding due to bad behavior of other relatives? My cousin is getting married at the end of the year. We've been good friends most of our lives. She has no contact with her parents, and she did not want to invite them to the wedding, but caved due to family pressure. At first, she agreed just to let them come to the ceremony, with the agreement that they would sit in the back and not talk to her, but no reception. But then family started pressuring her in increments. Then they said to let her dad walk her down the aisle, and she said fine, but no reception. Then they pressured her to let them come, and just kept piling on the demands. I was on her side completely and didn't agree with any of this. I had nothing to do with any of the pressure and even told her that she should tell our busybody relatives to pound sand, but she has difficulty with confrontation. She just wants to keep the peace. But since they keep pushing and pushing until her parents become full-fledged guests with full-fledged parent of the bride rights, she finally snapped and uninvited everyone in the family. I can understand uninviting those that were pressuring her and not respecting boundaries, but I wasn't guilty of any of this. And I didn't do anything wrong, and I think that it was completely unfair to lump me in with the rest of them and hurt. She said uninviting everyone because it was too much, and inviting me while uninviting everyone else would cause too much drama. But how is that my fault? I asked her if she could at least reimburse me for the flight and hotel. I did an advance pay with Hilton, so it's non-refundable, and the flight is non-refundable. I am not wealthy. I had to save up for this. She said no, she can't afford it, but I don't think that it's fair that not only am I cut out of the wedding when I did nothing wrong, but also have to swallow this cost when I did nothing wrong. She said that I demand that our busybody relatives pay for it, but of course, they're not going. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think you're in the wrong for asking this of her. I don't think she's going to do it, and she unfortunately isn't obligated to do it either. Like, this is a really jerk move on her part to uninvite someone who was not part of any of the drama and was being her support system. And I think maybe it's time to have a heart to heart conversation with her and let her know, like, because I think her trouble with confrontation is not your fault.
Yeah.
And the way she is treating you is inexcusable. So I think it's time to, let her know how this has made you, how you feel. It may be time to distance yourself from her if she's just going to throw you in with everyone else and act like you being out a good chunk of money is not her problem when it literally is her fault. So, I mean, I would say, if obviously you can't make her pay for it because you did buy this voluntarily, but go have a fun weekend, like look for things in the area that you would love to do.
Yeah.
How about your own little mini vacation?
Yes.
And just kind of, maybe tell her that this relationship has run its course and we need a timeout.
Yeah, and then seed the clouds so that it rains. So, I mean, I'm just kidding, of course. I think that Amber brought up a lot of the points that I kind of want to talk about, especially the last one where maybe OP still goes on this trip but turns it into like a mini vacation or something like that without the stress of the wedding. And I think that the cousin is treating OP incredibly unfairly here. OP encouraged her to tell the other relatives to, go pound sand in their words, right? And I think that that should be taken into consideration. Now, I know that she's trying to quote unquote keep the peace.
But there's no keeping the peace at this point in time.
Yeah.
She's uninvited the entire family. Like, it's not going to be that much more drama if OP is there or not, So I don't know what the cousin's deal is. Like, she's already gone with the drama. Like, there was no undramatic option, unfortunately, but uninviting everyone, that's like all the drama already.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Which detective always has a key handy?
Oh, I can tell you which detective has a key handy on them at all times. It's the gumshoe. Now, you might be like, well, Brian, wouldn't they just have gum on their shoe all the time? And you are correct. You are absolutely correct that there is gum on these gumshoes' shoes. However, if you dig into that gum, you find a key. And what can that key be used? For anything, because it's a skeleton key. A very gummy skeleton key shoe. So that's what you can find.
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yes.
And it's Sherlock Holmes Day. And it's also World Goth Day. And it's also Brian's and my 5-year wedding anniversary.
Yes, it is. So make sure to have a cup of tea for us. And I have Mega Mint.
I knew I used the bouquet recently, but this is my actual wedding bouquet, so nice thing about artificial flowers. And I'm kind of wearing the wedding dress and a necklace I wore at the wedding, so.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday Junior, folks.
Happy Friday Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please have it on weddings.
Vendors can't make you pay for things that they don't have in a contract.
I think that's good advice. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.